And I see Jordan out there, I print shit, and a bunch of other people from the build community that is out there. So come out PLA, of course, all my builders out there. And this is for you guys. We are broadcasting not only to John Crump News. Rich, I think you have a static again.
Serious, man? I got new cables. Give me a second.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm gonna go meet.
Yeah, whatever. Yep. Not only are we broadcasting John Crump News, but we're also doing John Crump Live and everywhere else. We are waiting for the White House to come on. Also at 2:00, the Federal Registry is supposed to update. I'm still refreshing to wait for that to come up. My articles are written. We're going to be talking about the rule. We're going to heckle Biden a little bit with his failed pillow salesman, a side piece, David Hogg, which will be up there. So, yeah. I am also joined by my friend, Flying Rich, who I cannot hear. You just muted yourself, man. I will unmute you. There you go, Rich. Cannot hear you at all, man. Yes. All right, I hear you messing around with your cables there. Just put the old cables back in if it doesn't work. But yeah, so I'm watching the live feed. So far, no press conference. I'm updating the Federal Registry. So far, no rule registry, but I do have my article, and it's going to be talking a lot about what is going on. We're going to have reaction from people like Thomas Massey. Also, I talked to Alan Gottlieb of Second Amendment Foundation. GOA has put out a statement. Everyone is coming out with this, so we're going to go through with this. But first, Rich needs to dude, it's staticky, but whatever. We'll just deal with it.
All right, what about now?
All right, that's better.
Okay, so that's a power feed. Yeah, that was the power feed.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump into it as we're waiting for the White House to come up with its thing. I'm going to put the Fox News feed up on the screen with basically no audio right now until we get going. Then we'll go ahead and do that. But until then, I'm just going to go like right here. So, give me 1 second here.
So I just want to shout out Jordan and Bob, who were in Miami, and I didn't get to see them. I wish I was there at Bitcoin's, Bear Arms and Bitcoins, and IPS in the chat, C&T.
Yeah. Are you broadcasting from your phone, by the way?
Yeah. I always do it from my phone.
I'm going to send you a mic, and you're going to do it from your computer. I'm serious.
Okay.
You have so much trouble. I don't know why you don't do that. Okay, so let's go ahead while we're waiting for everything to come together. I'm going to keep on checking the Federal Registry. We were told that it will be published at 2. We're a little bit after 2, and I do not see any updates so far.
Alex Rivera says Pacific Standard Time?
No, it's supposed to be Eastern Time. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the reaction that's coming around. Let's go ahead and we'll start with Massey. Massey sent out a tweet today. His tweet reads, "The Constitution does not provide the federal government." Should I bring it up or let's just read it? Thomas Massey, great guy, who says, the Constitution does not authorize the federal government to prevent you from making your own firearms. This is a fact that's been recognized for 200 plus years. Also,
Amen.
Article 1, Section 1, literally the first operative sentence in the Constitution says, Congress makes laws, not POTUS. So you can see that he is a little bit pissed there when it comes to this stuff. But Massey is pissed, and I agree with him. What the ATF is going to respond and saying is they're going to say that they're arguing that they're not banning anyone from making their homemade firearms. They're just banning stuff that's readily convertible, which could be anything.
And this is the argument. I could go in my garage. I have it right there now. I have 2 lengths of steel pipe, an end cap, and a roofing nail. I literally can buy that at a hardware store on my way to my car, make it into a slam-fire shotgun in less time than it takes me to make one of these into a firearm.
Yeah, I made a new one today of those. I accidentally clipped something that I shouldn't have clipped off, but I think it will still work. Whoops.
It won't have babies anymore?
Yeah, flip with the Dremel. Somebody is asking about the FRT. We can hit that really fast. The FRT, I don't believe, is a machine gun. I believe that the ATF believes it's a machine gun. And if I was selling the FRT 15, I would be very, very careful because that literally sent out. I have word that they're going to try to start prosecuting people for violating the law. And they are already requesting documents from certain FFLs that have sold since that letter have came out. Yeah.
So the letter comes out, you're an FFL, you sell it. They're basically saying you're going to be in violation, or they will come after you for a violation.
Yeah. All right. Someone knows what I clipped off. It was bad. But yeah. So the ATF does not make laws, but yet here we are. That's all I gotta
and I love
say.
that they say rulings. Ruling is, a king rules or makes rulings. This is massive BS on a monumental level.
Another question: do I think it's a sketchy time to become a gunsmith? That's from Half Baked and Bearded. No, I think it's still okay. We need to have gunsmiths out there, and we need to have people push back. Too many choices says P80 frames are not a firearm. I agree. They're going to have to shut down every hardware store. That is correct. Joey Pocket Hog says rules are meant to be broken. I also talked to Alan Gottlieb, who gave me a comment as well. I see Winston Probst out there. I haven't seen him in a while. He said, we do not believe that Biden. I asked if they're going to sue. So he says, we do not believe the Biden administration has legal authority to redefine what a gun is. Only Congress has that authority. This is a blatant attempt to usurp the Constitution. Our attorneys are exploring a lawsuit. That is Mr. Lovell's out there. Hi, Mr. Lovell. That is from Alan Gottlieb. He is the executive vice president of SAF. Gun Owners of America does have a lawsuit in works, so that should drop fairly shortly after that. I know Rob Olson, whose wife's about to pop out a baby, like probably anytime now. He was working on this as his wife was them. But Steven Stamboli will also be working with them. So Steven is just as good as Rob as an attorney. Both are Again, excellent attorneys. If you don't know, Stephen Stamboli is the guy that got all the Hawaii laws overturned.
Oh, cool.
So he is also working on it. Stephen is one of my other attorneys that has represented me in the past on multiple stuff. We do have a huge fight ahead of us. PA Ralph is out there?
Yeah, I was just talking to Ralph.
All right, Ralph, thank you for what you do. I'm going to go check the stream. Okay, here we go. We're
I
going
was
to go
just
ahead
checking if
gonna
Petey
bring
Ralph
this
still
up.
takes my calls.
All right, we're going to bring this up. Let's go ahead.
Do I have a seeing eye dog leading him out to the podium?
Probably. So they're just waiting for Biden to come out. Still waiting.
I hope his butt's been wiped.
Yeah. So while they're doing that, we're gonna look at some other comments that people have put out. I have the GOA comment from Eden Johnston, who is he is the chief lobbyist. He is the chief lobbyist. Oh man, I forgot to set something up for him too. Crap. All right. I'll talk to you about that offline, Rich. I'm gonna probably need your help, but he is the chief lobbyist. His quote is, I'm trying to get his quote up. He says, he commented a couple things. He said Biden proposal to create a comprehensive national gun registry and end the online sale of gun parts without passage of a new law exemplifies his disregard for the Second Amendment. Congress must provide oversight by striking down the ATF illegal registration rule, using the Congressional Review Act and passing Michael Cloud's no registry to eliminate the ATF registry. Okay, basically what is going to go on is, they're trying to get these serialized so they can get them registered, right? Just as we oppose the Trump administration's arbitrary ban on bump stocks, GOA will sue the Biden's ATF to halt the implementation of this rule. So basically, he is saying GOA is going to sue. He says it violates the Second Amendment, the Owners Protection Act, the Gun Control Act of 1968, and the Administrative Procedures Act, which it does all that. So that is the comment that I have gotten from Eden Johnston there. So GOA, I can guarantee you 100%. I might have a little bit of inside knowledge here, but yes, they are going to sue. They have their case is incredibly solid, and they're doing it in a very, very smart way. That is all I am going to say. But GOA is ready to sue. FBC is going to sue. Let's see. There's going to be 120 days notice looking for the firearms policy coalition.
I mean, it's been reported. Again, anything right now that comes out is kind of speculation. There have been leaks of information. We haven't verified that it's 120 days from any confirmed source. So.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
I have it.
Okay.
There you go.
That's new.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird to me that they came up with 120 days, because initially it seemed like they wanted 90 or the administration
and we
wanted
have
30.
The rule. Right, we have the rule.
You want to drop the URL in the chat?
Yeah, this is found on the ATF's website. I'm going to drop this in the chat. You talk for a second, okay?
I don't know what to talk about if you ask me to talk like that. This is crazy, because there's so many ways to build a firearm. And I guess the other thing is, I mean, I've got a Civil War musket that's been in my family. If I brought it to an FFL, they have to throw a serial number on it now. That's kind of nutbag. It worries me that the steps they're going through here they're not only appointing another gun grabber ATF administrator, and again, whether he's going to be confirmed or not, we don't know. That's still up in the air. There have kind of a brief announcement talking about upper and lower receivers, which could later be interpreted as like the NFA gets continuously reinterpreted to mean that an upper receiver and a lower receiver have to be serialized. So that's kind of a gray area. Right now it seems like they're getting it under the door by saying, "Oh no, we're just clarifying what a receiver is." But it seems like there's wiggle room built in for that. So there's a lot of things to be
Okay.
concerned about.
All right. Rich, I'm gonna let you do the reading cover. I don't have my glasses once again.
Okay, did you drop it in?
Yeah, I dropped it. Yeah, I dropped it in the chat, and I'm going to bring it up right here as well. This is the new rule.
What? All right, I haven't seen it come up in my chat yet.
I'll send it to you. Can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have you go ahead and share it from your computer. I'm gonna send it over to you.
Okay.
Via Instagram.
Instagrams. All right.
The grams. Once I find you. I got so many people hit me up today and yesterday, and I dropped that the rule might be coming out. Jordan told me, and one of my other sources also told me, they send it over to you.
Okay, see it on my phone.
All right. They're getting ready to speak too, so. You bring that up, you share it, I'll watch the other thing.
Okay. Give me a second. Because it's not up on my computer yet. I need new snails for my computer.
Your computer sucks so bad.
It's 10 years old. Give it a break.
Yeah, so Rich is bringing it
Pulling
up.
it up ever so slowly.
A lot of it, the first part has to deal with all AR-15s.
It's still populating.
Oh my God, Rich.
Sorry.
Get a fucking new computer.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get a check today. So when my first check comes, I'm getting a new computer. All right, it's up. I'm going to share. Sorry, I'm going to just start reading because
your computer is a piece of shit.
Yes. So I love that it says action final rule, and it's frame or receiver and identification of firearm. Action final rule. Summary. Department of Justice. Department is amending Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives (ATF) regulations to remove and replace the regulatory definitions of frame or receiver and frame or receiver. Firearm frame or receiver and frame or receiver, because the current regulations fail to capture the full meaning of those terms. The department is also amending ATF's definitions of firearms and gunsmith to clarify the meanings of those terms and to provide definitions of terms such as complete weapon, complete muffler or silencer device, multi-piece frame or receiver, privately made firearm, and readily, for purposes of clarity, given advancements in firearm technology, further the department is amending the ATF's regulations on making and record keeping that is necessary for the implementation of these new or amended definitions. Dates. This rule will be effective. Insert date that is 120 days from today. Hold on, I'm paging down. From the date of publication in the Federal Register.
Oh, you keep on reading.
Yeah. Vivian Chu, Office of Regulatory Affairs Enforcement and Services, Bureau, Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, U.S. Department of Justice, 99, blah, who cares? You want a phone number? Supplemental information, summary of regulatory action, summary of costs and benefits, ATF application of the definition to split frames and receivers, privately made firearms, advance notice of proposed rulemaking identification markings placed, and waiting for the page down to occur.
I am back. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and share this.
My computer's so dead nuts trying to get page 3. It just choked.
All right, hold on. Sorry, I read down through page 53.
You read down through 53?
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, I was kind of on a... Which page were you on?
I finished page 2, unfortunately.
Well, page 2 is...
It's just like fluff right now.
Start...
I don't even have a Chromebook here.
Start here.
Hold on. All right. Let me bring it up on my phone.
All right. This is the new rule. I'm going to drop it once more. And let me just I'll get over here so they can't pull it. I'm going to put it on my site so they can't pull it because this is pre-loaded. They're still waiting for the president to come out.
All right. So what page did you want me to read from?
The one that's on it should be page. Start with page. Is
that page 8?
No. Do the you did you start the executive summary?
Yeah, I was on page 2. I was just reading up to page 3.
The executive summary.
Yeah. All right, so hold on. Let me get this. So, record retention analysis of components and department responses for proposed rule, issues raised to support the rule, issues raised in opposition of the rule, definition of firearm, definition of frame or receiver, definition of readily, definitions of complete weapon and complete muffler silencer devices, definition of privately made firearm, definition of importer or manufacturer's serial number, definition of gunsmith, marking requirements, record keeping, record retention, effect on prior ATF rulings and procedures, severability, statutory executive order review, executive orders 12866 and 13563, executive order 13132, executive order 12988, Regulatory Flexibility Act. Is that yoga? A Small Business Regulatory Enforcement Fairness Act of 1996, Congressional Review Act, Unfunded Mandates Reform Act of 1995, Paperwork Reduction Action of 1995, Executive Summary. Summary of regulatory action. There are no definitions for the terms frame or receiver in the Gun Control Act of 1968 or the National Firearms Act of 1934. To implement these statutes, firearm, frame or receiver, and frame or receiver were defined in regulations to mean the part of the firearm which provides a housing for the hammer, bolt, breech block, and firing mechanism, and which is usually threaded at the forward portion of the receiver barrel, 27 CFR 478.11. Implementing GCA Title 1, 27 CFR 479.11, implementing GCA Title 2. The definitions were meant to provide directions as to which portion of the weapon is a frame or receiver for purposes of licensing, serialization, record keeping, thereby ensuring that a component necessary for the functioning of the firearm could be traced if later involved in a crime. However, a restrictive application of these definitions would not describe the frame or receiver of most firearms currently in circulation in the United States. Most modern weapons designs, including semi-automatic rifles and pistols with detachable magazines, have split or multi-piece receivers where the relevant fire control components are housed by more than one part of the weapon, the upper and lower receiver of an AR-15, or incorporate a striker to fire the weapon rather than a hammer. In past years, some courts have treated regulatory definition firearm frame or receiver as inflexible when applied to the lower portion of an AR-15 type of rifle, one of the most popular firearms in the United States. If broadly followed, that result would mean as many as 90% of all firearms with split frames or receivers or striker fired in the United States would not have any frame or receiver subject to regulation. Furthermore, technological advances have made it easier for companies to sell firearm parts kits, standalone frame or receiver ports, and easy to complete frames or receivers to unlicensed persons without maintaining any records
all
or
right,
conducting.
Rich. If someone's saying he's going to the podium, so we're gonna go ahead and break over. I'll get that link out to you guys soon. My site crashed because I have 100,000 people on it right now, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, my site's not really meant to deal with 100,000 people.
Crumpy.com, new rule, pistol frames and receivers.
Is at Chevy.com. Find your future, find new roads.
All right.
Hello, I'm Mark Spitz, 9-time Olympic gold medalist and world record breaker. Over my career, I set 35 world records. All told, my swimming took me further than the distance around the earth. Imagine the toll that took on my body back then. Early in my life, I decided that my destiny would not be a matter of chance.
I put it out on multiple sites.
But over the years, aches and pains started to prevent me from living my best life. Then I made another important choice, 100% drug-free Relief Factor. That decision changed my life. I take Relief Factor every day for aches and pains. If Relief Factor can help a guy like me, then there's a good chance it can help you too. Join me and hundreds of thousands of others. Get your 3-week quick start for only $19.95.
Dude, come on.
Treat yourself to feeling better.
I guess they got to play
1-800 for relief to order now, or go to relieffactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
No one
right, I'm gonna try
the
to
American dream
find
of
it because this is
homeownership
fucking
more than
ridiculous.
veterans. At New Day, you can buy a home with no down payment and wait.
Oh, Ralph is like hitting me hard. He says that commercial is for me, and actually, maybe I should get that.
All right, I'm gonna
Missouri, right.
I'm gonna try to find another feed.
So I'm going through this, and a lot of preamble talking about what they're going to talk about.
All right, here we go. We're gonna do this. We're heading over to PBS.
I told you to go to PBS.
threat to the safety of our communities. That is why, as a United States Senator, I was proud to co-sponsor a bill to manufacture and end the manufacturing, of sale of ghost guns. And it is why we are here today, to announce new actions to get ghost guns off our streets and to protect our communities from gun violence. The Department of Justice plays a critical role in addressing gun violence in our communities. And the actions we are taking today would not be possible without their partnership. So I'm proud to now welcome a leader who has spearheaded much of the department's work on this important
NRA.
issue, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President.
She looks like a damn troll.
Mia. There is no higher priority for the Department of Justice than keeping the American people safe. That is why every day we work with our community and law enforcement partners to combat violent crime through prevention and through prosecutions. Too often, though, murders and other serious crimes are committed with guns. Each victim of gun violence is someone's loved one, a neighbor, a friend.
Every time
We
somebody says
stand
ghost
together
gun, you have to
today
take a drink.
in
You have to take a
recognition
shot.
of that loss, and alongside all of those who have been touched by the tragedy of gun violence. We also stand together with resolve and with hope for the future. Just over 1 year ago, the President, the Vice President, and the Attorney General stood in this very spot to announce new steps to curb gun violence. One such critical step is reining in so-called ghost guns. These are guns that have no serial numbers. They are nearly impossible for law enforcement to trace. Many are sold without a background check. They're accessible to almost anyone. They often come in kits. They can be bought online. They can be assembled quickly with little or no training. That means that someone can convert parts in a box into a working gun with alarming ease. Now, we call them ghost guns because they can't be tracked. But make no mistake, they are real. They can shoot to kill, and they do. For years, criminals have sought out these unmarked guns to murder and to maim. That's why the Attorney General has signed a rule that updates our regulations to keep up with changes in technology. The goal? To keep untraceable guns off of the streets, out of the hands of criminals and others who are prohibited by law from possessing a firearm. Some of the key changes include updating old definitions to ensure that gun laws apply to all firearms, including ghost guns, requiring gun dealers to run background checks on kits containing parts that can readily be converted into a gun, facilitating tracing by requiring firearms dealers to apply serial numbers to existing ghost guns so that they then take into inventory. Because of these updates, law enforcement will have additional crime gun intelligence to stop gun violence.
What the hell is crime gun
to seek
intelligence?
Justice for victims of violent crimes.
They make a bunch of words
Get
up.
guns used in crimes off of our streets. Today's announcement is one of many efforts by the Department of Justice to protect our communities from violent crime and gun violence. We continue to go after and disrupt illegal gun trafficking networks. We continue to go after and hold accountable the most violent offenders. And we are working every day with our partners in law enforcement and with community leaders to craft specific strategies to combat violent crime.
Dark, if you want to come on, let us know.
Communities safe. We will not stop until we reduce violent crime and save lives. As the Attorney General has said, the department will continue to apply every single tool at our disposal to fulfill that obligation. And now it is my great honor to introduce Mia Tretta, an inspiring young woman whose story illustrates why we're here today and why these actions are so important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Attorney General. Good afternoon.
Of course, they have
As
to.
she said, my name is Mia Tretta, and it's an honor to be
One
here.
of the things they do, they always
Not just because it's the
parade
White
out
House,
kids.
but because I'm speaking on behalf of two classmates who can't be here with us, one of whom was my best friend.
They try to do this to
When I
you know,
woke up
pull
on
out the
November 14th,
heartstrings, you know.
2019, my biggest
Yes.
worry of the day was
Tug at the
Spanish
heartstrings,
tests.
exactly.
I was a freshman at Saugus High School in Santa Clarita, California.
David
Determined
Hogg's going to be there too.
DLD
So
After
as soon as
Dark,
I
it
got
is
to
already
school,
on
I
your
made a
channel.
beeline for the quad
Figured you
to meet
wanted
with my
that, or
best
Rich
friend,
did
Dominic Blackwell.
did it. So
It's hard for me to talk about Dominic. Like me, Dominic had big dreams, liked doing well in school, and planning for our futures. We spent the morning like any other, laughing, talking,
the
till we heard a
kids.
loud pop. It was a gunshot, followed by 6 more. One of the bullets hit me in the stomach. Somehow, I was able to get up and run away, but Dominic couldn't. I was airlifted to the hospital and spent hours in surgery having a bullet removed from my abdomen that was millimeters away from my major artery. Then my parents told me the terrible truth. Dominic had died, and so had another classmate, Gracie Ann Muehlberger, a 15-year-old girl with an infectious laugh. And a community was left shattered. I later learned that we had been shot by a 16-year-old student for reasons I will never know. He had brought his father's weapon to school,
Which was
a
not.
firearm I would come to know as a ghost gun. Ghost guns are untraceable, build-it-yourself firearms that look like a gun, shoot like a gun, and kill like a gun, but have not been regulated like a gun. I've
What
also learned
regulation
that
would have
as a
stopped that
student,
from
I
getting a
don't just have
regular
to worry
gun?
about Spanish tests, but about my life. School shootings with ghost guns are on the rise. And the most lasting thing I have learned, other than the loss of friends or the shattering of my youth, is that nothing has relieved the pain in my heart like working to prevent more senseless shootings. So my family and I joined Everytown for Gun Safety, Moms Demand Action, and Students Demand Action.
All
Bloomberg
Michael
organization.
Bloomberg
Thousands
farm
of other
groups, by the
young
way. They're all
activists
funded by
and
Michael Bloomberg.
survivors
Every
to
single
prevent
one.
more things like this happening. They turned my pain into progress. And that's why we're here today, celebrating progress, life-saving progress.
And we're going to sue and get it overturned, so it's not going to do anything.
Because now, finally, we have a president who realizes that thoughts and prayers alone are not
Who
enough.
doesn't have thoughts?
A president
thoughts and
who has
prayers
been
matter,
standing
huh?
up to the gun lobby for decades and winning. A president who has been standing up for survivors like me and so many others. A president who is taking bold, meaningful action to stop the spread of ghost guns. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great honor to introduce the strongest gun sense commander-in-chief ever to hold office, President Joe Biden.
Does he have a seeing eye dog to lead him out to the podium? Sniffer, Joe. Big sniff. Did you
He
sniff
wants
the hair?
to.
I can smell your hair from here. Ah, hair. do you have the Jumbotron ready with my speech?
Thank you, Madam Vice President, Deputy
Was
Attorney
that the Vice
General
President?
Monaco.
Oh.
And Mia, you're an incredible young woman. We spoke for a moment inside the Oval Office, and a lot of people here who have lost someone, too many here have lost someone, know that no matter what the occasion, how celebratory or not it is, when you have to repeat it, you relive it like it just happened a moment ago. Your poise, your confidence, and your intellect are really impressive, honey. I mean, they really are. And you know, I think most people here can tell you've gone through serious loss, that the best way to deal with it is find purpose. And you found real purpose. And you are impressive. And thank you for sharing your strength, for helping us remember your friend
Tyrant
Dominic Blackwell and Gracie Muehlberger. You know, Dominic and Gracie's parents are with us today. Are you prepared to stand up? If I don't want to embarrass you, but would you stand up? If you have a moment afterwards, maybe you can come in the Oval with me if you wouldn't mind. I'd love to talk to you. Frank and Nancy, Brian and Cindy, everyone here, as they say, feels your pain a little bit, particularly if they've suffered a serious loss. You've now joined a terrible fellowship of loss that many people have experienced. There are too many survivors and advocates here for me to name everyone today, but let me say the loss in this crowd is incalculable, but so is the strength. So is the strength. I believe our nation will be safer for your bravery, and I really mean that.
You have corn pop there.
Survivors like me and Manny and
Good call.
Claudia, Los Angeles Deputy Sheriff who survived an ambush by a shooter with a ghost gun, represent individuals and families all across this country whose lives have been forever changed by a ghost gun. Some made national headlines, many others did not. Today, we honor your strength and your action. A year ago this week, standing here with many of you, I instructed the Attorney General to write a regulation that would rein in the proliferation of ghost guns because I was having trouble getting things passed in the Congress. But I used what we call
The workaround.
regulatory authority. A year later, we're here, we keep that promise. The gun lobby tried to tie up the regulators and paperwork for a long, long time. The NRA called this rule I'm about to announce extreme. Extreme.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, is it extreme to protect police officers? Extreme to protect our children?
What's wrong with his eye?
Extreme to keep guns out of the hands of people
He's
who
got to
couldn't even
squint
pass
very
a
hard
background
so he can
check?
actually read the teleprompter.
Look,
That's
the
really a
idea that
Jumbotron.
someone on a terrorist list could purchase one of these guns is extreme.
Show me the number of
extreme,
terrorists that
is
have purchased
basic
ghost
common
guns.
sense. You know,
When they say common sense,
if you
they're
buy a couch you have
stretching.
to assemble, it's still a couch. If you order a package like this one over here that includes the parts you need, the direction of assembling a functioning firearm, you bought a gun. Take a look. Take a look at this. It comes in this package. You can see the picture down here maybe. This is the gun. It's not hard. Put it together. A little drill, hand drill at home. Doesn't take very long. Anyone.
Let me see you do it, Joe.
There. Anyone. Folks,
This is
go
a
from
gun.
terrorist, a domestic abuser,
Rich,
from a
don't read that
gun
around.
kit-
We're going to get taken off. Seriously.
to a gun as little as 30 minutes. Buyers aren't required to pass background checks because guns have no serial numbers, these guns. When they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. Harder to find and prove who used them. I mean, you can't connect
Mine all
the
have the
gun
same
to the
serial
shooter
number.
and hold them accountable. In fact, the ATF reports that they've been able to trace less than 1% of ghost guns reported by law enforcement.
And 1.5%
So
of
it makes
serialized
sense.
guns.
The police across the country are increasingly finding ghost guns at crime scenes. And by the way, ghost guns can be, quote, rifles, essentially assault weapons as well. This is just one version of the kit you can buy. Last year alone, law enforcement reported approximately 20,000 suspected ghost guns to be to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
That also includes guns that had the serial numbers removed too, by the way.
2016, tenfold in 5 years. These guns are weapons of choice for many criminals. We're going to do everything we can to deprive them of that choice. And when we find them, put them in jail for a long, long time. Law enforcement is sounding the alarm. Our communities are paying the price, and we're acting. Today, the United States Department of Justice is making it illegal for a business to manufacture one of these kits without a serial number. Illegal.
So basically, you just admitted that they made new law.
Illegal for a licensed gun dealer to sell them without a background check. And starting today, weapons like the one used in Saugus High School and to ambush deputies with us that are here with us today are being treated like the deadly firearms they are. And if somebody sells the ghost gun to a federally licensed dealer, for example, a pawn shop, that dealer must make the firearm and mark it with a serial number before reselling it. All of a sudden, it's no longer a ghost. It has a return address. It's going to help save lives, reduce crime, and get more criminals off the streets. And this rule is only part of our strategy to go after ghost guns. In February, the Department of Justice launched a national ghost gun enforcement initiative, intensifying our efforts to bring cases against those who use ghost guns illegally. We're teaching investigators and prosecutors best practices, how to build these cases, and assigning a coordinator in each of the ATF field divisions.
Are they going to go up to
serve as a
NBC?
point person, prepping federal, state, and local law enforcement after ghost guns.
Asking for a friend.
If you commit a crime with a ghost gun, expect federal prosecution. Not just state, expect federal prosecution.
And the AG of Pennsylvania.
This rule is an important step. It's going to make a difference, I promise you. And there are a lot of other things we know work to reduce gun violence and other violent crimes and save lives. That's why I put together a comprehensive strategy to supercharge what works while continuing to push Congress to act on sensible legislation to prevent gun violence. In addition to today's rule, we're working on 4 areas. First, we're going after rogue gun dealers. The last time we had data on this was more than 20 years ago. 5% of gun dealers sold 90% of illegal guns found at crime scenes. 5% sold 90%. These merchants of death are breaking the law for profit, selling guns that are killing innocent people. We're cracking down on these gun dealers and the violent criminals they knowingly arm.
I'm going to start a gun shop, merchant of death gun shop.
We're disrupting illegal gun trafficking.
MOD.
Attorney General Garland has directed all U.S. attorneys to prioritize combating gun trafficking that is moving guns across state lines and city boundaries. The Justice Department is surging prosecutorial resources to help shut down these trafficking corridors, including the one known as the Iron Pipeline that funnels weapons from gun shops in states like Georgia to crime scenes up and down the East Coast. Thirdly, we're funding strategies we know reduce gun crime, community policing, and community violence interruption. Look, I've said it many times. The answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police and give them the tools and training to support.
Good call, Kioski.
Better partners and protectors of our
Kioski says Joe is known for shutting down pipelines.
And I've already made clear that I want cities, states, counties, and tribes to use some of the $350 billion we sent to them in the American Rescue Plan that I wrote in the first month to reduce gun violence, hire police officers for community policing, pay police overtime, purchase crime-fighting technologies, They were given the money, they can do it. Spend it. And now, on top of that, I'm calling for additional funding to put police on the streets for community policing. One thing we learned in the middle of the crime wave not long ago, when the cop knows by first name who owns the corner drugstore, who lives in the apartment above 6B, who the people who are the pastors of the churches, guess what? People talk to them. They trust them. My son was the Attorney General in Delaware. He'd go around and make sure everybody literally in these high crime rate neighborhoods, he'd give them his personal cell phone number and instructed all the cops to do the same thing. And they did. And the crime plummeted. Not a joke. Look at the record. Not just my son, but all across the nation. And for the AFT to hire agents
AFT.
to help to fight gun crime.
He said AFT.
My budget funds body cameras, make sure police work with our local communities and are accountable to the local communities. We're also investing in community violence intervention. These are areas of local programs that utilize trusted messengers, community members, and leaders to work directly with people who are the most likely to commit a gun crime or become victims of gun crime. Get to them early. It works. It works. They intervene before it's too late. Fourth, we're funding jobs and training for young people, summer programs, drug treatment, mental health, housing availability, criminal justice reform, and reentry support for people coming home after incarceration. Right now, you get let out of prison after serving your time, you get a bus ticket and $25. You end up under the same bridge you left 2, 5, 10 years earlier. If you serve your time, you qualify for Pell Grants, you qualify for housing, you qualify for food, you qualify to get back into the community, give them a fighting chance. These are all demonstrated ways to reduce crime. And I'm strongly urging cities, states, counties, and tribes to use the rescue plan funding we sent them to do more in each of these areas. And they need to do more and do it quickly before the summer when crime typically surges around America. So we're pushing in each of these areas.
Good. Help. Tactical pineapple will help for Hunter.
Respect to my members of Congress here, they're the wrong people I'd be talking to. For the responsibility to act, we need Congress to pass universal background checks. Universal background checks. And I know it's controversial, but I got it done once. Ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
So far, nothing about magazines.
I was getting
or assault weapons
criticized when I first passed this law when I was a senator. And guess what? I was down in southern Delaware, do a lot of hunting and fishing down there. And
He doesn't know anything about hunting.
One of the creek beds. And the guy standing there said, "You want to take my gun?" I said, "No, I'll take your gun." He said, "Well, you're telling me I can't have more than the next number of bullets in my gun." And I said, "What do you think the deer you're hunting are wear Kevlar vests? What the hell you need 20 bullets for? You must be a hell of a terrible shot." I'm serious. Think about it. Think about the mass shooting.
That's not what the Second Amendment is about.
Round.
Yeah, the Second Amendment's about hunting and deer, right? That's my understanding, or at least Joe thinks so.
With recreation. Outright banning the sale and possession of unserialized guns. Eliminate gun manufacturers' immunity from liability. They're the only outfit. They're the only outfit in the country that is immune.
No.
Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune.
They were.
Prostitute being sued.
They were until the government sued.
In February, the families of 9 of the Sandy Hook shooting victims achieved a settlement against the maker of guns that was used to kill their children. The Sandy Hook folks are here. Are you embarrassed to ask you to stand up? These folks right here did more to keep all this going than anybody. We owe you, man. We owe you. It never goes away, does it? God love you. Look, this is incredibly rare because gun manufacturers have more immunity from liability than any other American industry. So they've never had to take responsibility for the death and destruction their products cause. But as part of this settlement, Remington agreed to release thousands of pages of internal documents. You did that. And why? Here's why it's so important. Remember, it wasn't until we saw the internal documents that we really understood what cigarette manufacturers are doing to our kids and our families. Now, we may begin to see what gun manufacturers are and are not doing when it comes to making and marketing their deadly products. And by the way, it's going to sound bizarre. I support the Second Amendment.
No, you don't.
don't.
Right. But from the very beginning, the Second Amendment didn't say you can own any gun you want, as big as you want. You couldn't buy a cannon. When in
Yes, you
fact,
could.
Yes, you could.
passed. And certain people from the very beginning weren't allowed.
You could buy a cannon today.
It's nothing new. It's just rational.
Who writes this
Look, this
stuff?
should be just a start.
This is the second time
We
you've
need
said
to
that.
repeal
It's
the liability
totally
of
wrong.
gun manufacturers and finally hold them accountable for false advertising and many other things they do. There's one more action I'm taking today. It's only been, there's only been one Senate who's confirmed the Director of Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives in the Bureau's entire history. It used to be didn't require Senate action when I first got to the Senate. But it's only been one since it became required confirmation. This is an agency whose mission is to protect communities from violent criminals, illegal trafficking of firearms, acts of arson and bombing, and a lot more. The mission of this agency isn't controversial, it's public safety. Today, to lead and support the dedicated men and women of the AFT, I'm proud to
AFT again.
Drink.
Steve Diddleback, excuse me, I mispronounced your name.
Doodlebug.
As Director of Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco,
Agriculture.
Firearms, and Explosives. Steve is immensely qualified.
AFT.
He served the Department of Justice for 2 decades. He worked side by side to support the work of federal, state, and local law enforcement, including AFT agents.
AFT
AFT
again.
One of those was his case he
Oh
personally tried as a U.S. attorney, where the serial arsonist firebombed the courthouses and police headquarters in Mansfield, Ohio. For his work, Steve got death
Is
threats,
he talking about BLM?
but the defendant got 60 years. Steve also partnered with the community leaders and law enforcement to help prevent violent crime. He's worked with the police to combat domestic extremism and to take violent criminals off the street. Steve's record makes him ready on day one to lead this agency. And by the way, in 2009, the U.S. Senate unanimously confirmed him to serve as U.S. Attorney. I look forward to working with the Senate to get him confirmed once again. With what I've know about him and why I'm so enthusiastic about supporting him, I'd like to introduce my nominee to lead the AFT to you, all of you.
AFT
Steve,
again. Holy crap.
Doodlebug. Where's the Doodlebug? Did I step on it? Oh, no, there it is.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Vice President Harris, for your leadership in protecting the people of this nation and for placing your trust in me to become the next director of the ATF.
AFT.
Thanks. Thank you also, Deputy Attorney General Monaco, for all that you and Attorney General Garland continue to do at DOJ to make our nation safer. And thank you, Mia, for your incredible inspiration and courage, not just here today, but all over this nation. Thank you. I also want to thank my incredible, supportive, and often patient family who are here. My wonderful wife, Carol, and my children, Allie and David, please.
He's 16 years old. I'm going to draft him.
Is there an agent in the house? But
To
seriously,
get Creepy Joe off the kid.
especially today, I want to thank the men and women of the ATF. I
AFT.
started as a career prosecutor back in 1992, and I have spent 3 decades watching and admiring agents and staff at the ATF, along with its federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, as they work tirelessly and courageously to protect the American people. I would also say they work in anonymity, but that would not be completely true. Because sadly, one thing I've also seen over the years is that the ATF often does work in anonymity when its agents are out there risking their lives to protect us, only to be thrust into the public eye when it's time for criticism. Law enforcement is a very tough job, and no person and no agency is perfect. But the president is right. The men and women of the ATF and the public that they protect deserve better support from us.
Anyone have a picture of Waco?
I've seen firsthand the work that so many at the ATF do to protect us from violence. They're dedicated, they're professional, and they're effective. They don't write the laws. Their mission every day is just to go out and enforce those laws and protect the public from a wide range of threats.
Nazis didn't write the laws
Our
either.
office partnered with the ATF and the Cleveland police as they doggedly investigated and brought a case involving the deadliest home arson in Cleveland history, killed 9 people, including 8 kids. I also saw the ATF partner with the FBI and our office, first to find and then to bring to justice a bigot who drove from Indiana to outside Toledo to torch the largest mosque in Ohio. And last, and certainly not least, I have partnered with the ATF for decades in its crucial fight against gun violence. You know, whether it was taking a single violent recidivist off the street in Maryland or putting together a big racketeering case against a violent gang in Youngstown, Ohio. I have seen the ATF work with other law enforcement to make so many of our communities safer. As we emerge from this pandemic, we've got to recognize that many Americans still face fear and isolation, not because of a virus, but because of an epidemic of firearms violence.
Because of the federal
It's not a
government
new
pumping
and it has many
scare tactics.
causes. That's why it's going to take an all hands on deck partnership approach to address that issue. And the ATF will be there. If confirmed, I promise to support the men and the women of the ATF and to do everything in our power to protect the people of this nation every single day. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you all for coming. By the way, he was responsible for the weather as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats as the President and Vice President depart. Thank you.
And that is it, guys.
All right, so I'm reading through this, and it looks like page 75 talks about the SIG P320. Is it page 75 here? And it says the outermost portion that holds these items has to be serialized. So they're talking about modular firearms, modular fire control groups.
Yeah. Well, there it is, 120 days. Get your P80s. Get your P80s. Hopefully the lawsuits and the injunctions will work. But if they don't, make sure you get your P80s. And you can get it from JFD Supply by using code CRUMP. And I will go ahead. Let's see here. Hold on. What the hell am I trying to do? Give me 1 second here.
Well, or you could email orders at flyingrich.com.
Orders at flyingrich.com, or you can go to JFD Supply and I will go ahead and
So it's interesting how they talk about the rules, and many people that wrote comments in mentioned this, and many people that wrote comments, nobody said, "Hey, f you, hands off. I've been making guns. People have been making guns in North America before there was a country." Somehow I didn't read any of that, but they cherry picked, like, oh, people were scared of this, and we enacted this rule. Commenters were making suggestions regarding racial equality are beyond the scope of the rule. What? Well, okay.
yeah, you're reading through some of the comments.
Yeah, it's comments and replies to the comments. It's kind of crazy.
So use code Crump, you can get free shipping and free shipping and $10 off.
$10 off.
Yes. Or you can go
Ooh.
to orders@flyingrich.com or email.
Place your orders here. Place your orders here.
There you go.
So what's people saying?
I don't know. That Biden's an idiot.
I hope Biden's nominee makes it to the AFT.
I don't know. So I want to ask you guys out there in the audience, what do you think? Do you think that any of the injunctions are going to be successful? Do you think this is the end of our hobby as we know it? Or do you think, as when I talked to Cody Wilson did give me a quote here, and his quote, my Amalan article is live, but I got to get his quote. We're going to be doing something together, doing a collab, if you would. Soon. Cody Wilson did say to me, what did he say? It is illegal to rewrite federal statute. Fortunately, we have been preparing since January with the 0% lowers. With 3D printing and home milling, gun builders will still be able to proceed forward with little change.
You just need a Ghost Gunner 3 and jump online to order one. I bet his phone lines are burning up too.
Yeah, I mean, I wish sometimes I wish I didn't give away my Ghost Gunner.
Did you permanently give it away or did you loan it away?
No. I traded 5 kits.
You traded 5 kits for your Ghost Gunner?
Yeah, I figured, Jordan can do a lot more with it than I can.
Dang, I would have made that deal at a heartbeat.
I know. But Jordan can do a lot more with it than I can. That I wanted to get it in the hands of someone that can really do something.
I hear you. That's smart. Well, guys, we got any questions here? Anything we need to clear up? I'm still paging through it. Wow, it's 364 pages.
Yeah, most
Holy
of that is comments.
All right.
I told you that on I told you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oof. We are working on some new stuff for the Ghost Gunner 3. Going to see what a P365 looks like from 2 pieces of bar stock. Ooh.
That's why I made that trade.
Ooh, very cool, very cool.
You see why I made it, Rich?
For sure. So it looks like I need to order myself a MUP1 grip because apparently in the future they're going to have to be serialized.
Yeah.
Because it said the outermost portion that houses the fire control group. I'd have to reread that. I think it's around page 73 that it's talking about that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Well, the FGC-9 has no gun parts in it. So other than the wind chime portion, you can do all of that at home. So very cool, very cool. Or you could get a little more adventurous and build something like an ark. Mike Honcho, how's it going, man?
Mike Honcho, I've been talking to him a lot lately.
You have or have not?
I have. We've been.
Okay.
I don't think we should say who Mike Honcho is.
Maybe we shouldn't say who Mike Honcho is.
No. I think enough people out there know who he is.
I've just been trading pool pictures. He sends me a picture of his kiddie pool with snow around it, and I sent him a picture of my pool with palm trees around.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Can't believe Silence of Code is proud to announce they have been awarded the contract to supply the GLJ with suppressor. What the F? Make this go viral. I don't know anybody. I know people silence their shop, but not Silence of Co. I don't know. That's crazy. I don't think anyone should sell anything to the government right now.
Yeah, let them buy, it overseas from the Russians.
Yeah.
Like the oil.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. That is it. We will be back on John Crump Live. If you go to youtube.com/John Crump Live, because I know many of you are just on the John Crump News channel. I appreciate all 500 of you guys out there. I love you guys very, very much. But on John Crump Live, we will be having Mikey from Smoked Bros. They make a really awesome barbecue sauce. Their sauces are incredible. Basically, Smoke Bros is what you get when you get a bunch of Green Berets together, and then they take the recipes that they've honed overseas doing missions, and they come back, and after all the war fighting's done, they have nothing to do, so they start a barbecue company. So yeah, Mikey is a great guy, and all those guys over at Smoke Bros are great.
So we'll chit chat about what broke today, and more information.
Yeah, and with Smoke Bros, if you don't like their product, they will come to your house in the middle of the night, raid you with night vision on, and make sure you don't complain anymore. Just joking. No, their sauces are I actually buy a lot of this. Not the sponsorship. They don't give me stuff. I actually buy it full price, and it's freaking phenomenal sauces. And if you want something from JSD Supply, you can use code CRUMP and get $10 off and free shipping. Right there. Oh, there you go. P80s. All right. All right. That is it for me. Check out Flying Rich at Flying Rich on YouTube at Flying Rich. Not Fly Rich because that is not him. Or you can check him out on Instagrams at Flying Rich _ official because someone else has official, and check out his MySpace and flyingrich.locals.com, and you can go to johncrump.locals.com. Join the Discord, which is freaking fun as hell, and that's linked down below as well. All right, guys, I love you very much, and with that, we are out of here.
In 2 hours.
And Wolverine.